If you're a Warriors fan, stop everything now and listen carefully, because what happened today completely changes the game. After months of hearing that Golden State was behind, losing space, without firepower in the market, an NBA source said something that no one expected. The Warriors won the biggest bidding war of the day, and it wasn't close. I know exactly how it feels to see rivals moving around while doubt hits. Is the team still competitive? Does the board still have a real plan? The fans' pain comes from there. But today, the answer arrived. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what really happened, why this behind-the-scenes victory is so important, and how it could be the turning point Golden State needed. Stay with me. Before moving on, let me ask you something quick that makes all the difference. If you are a real Warriors, leave a like now, because this helps the video reach more fans who are going through the same anxiety as us. Also, check if you are already subscribed to the channel and activate the bell, because the news is coming out at a rapid pace, and you don't want to find out everything late. And stay with me until the end, because what I'm going to show you now explains why this move changes the team's scenario and what can still happen from that. Now, let's get to the point. The Warriors' night against New York was one of those that makes fans stop, take a deep breath, and remember why it's still worth believing. And I'm not just talking about the score or an isolated victory in the middle of the season. I'm talking about the entire context of everything that was being said before the ball went up. Trade rumors everywhere, doubts about the squad, questions about the team's direction, endless debates about whether this window is still open or whether it has already started to close. Amidst all this noise, Golden State took the court and responded in the most direct way possible, by playing winning basketball. This type of action has a curious effect. It doesn't solve all the problems, it doesn't erase all the questions, but it changes the climate. It takes a weight off your shoulders. It reminds players, coaching staff, and fans of what this group can be when the pieces fit together and everyone understands their role. It wasn't a perfect game, far from it, but it was a game with identity. And, in such an unstable season, that's worth a lot. More than beating a competitive opponent like the New York Knicks, what the Warriors did was send a message to the rest of the league. When this team is focused, when the defense competes, when the ball moves and decisions are made clearly, there is still the DNA of a candidate for something greater. It's not nostalgia, it's not living in the past. It's recognizing that certain patterns don't disappear overnight. Stephen Curry was the symbol of this once again. He finished with 27 points, but the numbers only tell part of the story. The real impact came from the way he controlled the game. Even though he started cold from the perimeter, missing shots that normally fall, there was no rush, there was no desperation. He kept moving, kept pushing the defense, kept making the game turn. And when the balls started falling, the effect was immediate. The defense stretched, spaces appeared, and the attack breathed. The most impressive thing about Curry at this point in his career is how he reads the game. It adjusts in real time. He understands when he needs to take on more, when he needs to attract two markers, when it is enough to be a constant threat to free his teammates. Even on possessions where he doesn't touch the ball at the end, his presence shapes everything. Defenses behave differently when he's on the court, and this creates advantages that don't always show up in the box score. On the other side, Jimmy Butler delivered exactly the kind of performance that explains why he's so valuable in big games. There were 32 points, yes, but, again, the highlight is not just in the total. It's in efficiency, control, and calculated aggressiveness. Butler attacked mismatches, sought contact, was strong in the mid-range and at the rim. He didn't force plays, he didn't waste possessions, and, perhaps most importantly, he didn't commit turnovers. This type of game stabilizes a team. When Butler performs like this, he gives the Warriors a solid foundation. Each infiltration had a clear purpose. Each post-up was accompanied by patience. He defended with intensity, bothered those in front of him, and brought a physicality that perfectly complements Curry's more fluid style. It's a fit that makes sense when executed this way. But the big difference tonight appeared when the focus left the stars and went to the collective. Throughout the season, one of Golden State's biggest problems was precisely the lack of response from the supporting cast. The current NBA does not forgive teams that only rely on 2 or 3 players. Without a contribution from the bank, any advantage evaporates. And, against New York, that F finally changed. The second unit took the court with energy, confidence, and real impact on the game. Moses Moody was the most obvious face of this. He played freely, without hesitation, taking advantage of every space that appeared. When the ball arrived, he threw it with conviction. When he needed to defend, he competed. He finished with 21 points, being decisive from the perimeter, and showed why he is still such a valued asset within the league. Moody's performance goes beyond a good shooting night. It changes the way defenses need to behave. When a young person shows this level of readiness, opponents can no longer ignore him or help freely. This makes room for the system to work better. Furthermore, it reinforces something important. Games like this don't come out of nowhere. They are the result of patience, development, and trust. Brandon Podziemski also played a key role. There were 19 points in an extremely mature performance for someone still in the process of growth. He hit difficult shots, created his own space, and showed personality in important moments. There were mistakes, of course, some turnovers, decisions that still need to be polished, but the balance was largely positive. The type of action that justifies the organization's investment in its development. These performances from the supporting cast completely changed the dynamic of the game. Instead of relying on isolated bursts, the Warriors were able to sustain the pace. The ball rolled better, the shots came within the system, and the defense was able to organize itself more calmly. This was evident in the reduction in turnovers, a recurring problem in other defeats. With more care with the ball, the team controlled the tempo of the match. Defensively, the level of commitment was clear. The rotations were faster, the communication was more constant, and the closeouts were more balanced. Draymond Green was, as almost always, the voice that organized it all. Even without flashy numbers, his presence was felt in every detail. Positioning, reading passes, energy at the right moments. He is the type of player who influences the game, even when he appears invisible in the statistics. Other names also contributed to their roles. DeAnthony Melton brought defensive intensity, generated deflections, and helped break the opponent's rhythm. Quinton Post did the simple thing well, spacing the court when he had the opportunity and competing for rebounds. That kind of silent contribution underpins victories like this. There was, indeed, a point of concern with the early departure of Gui Santos after a sprained ankle. He had been an important piece due to his energy and versatility. His absence could demand more from other wingers in future matches. This type of depth testing is part of the season, and it will be interesting to see how the team responds. All of this happened while, off the court, rumors continued to circulate. Discussions about exchanges, market movements, and front office decisions continue in the air. Still, within the four lines, the Warriors seemed connected. They played as a group that still believes in what they can build together. The victory helped push the team up the standings and reinforced a clear message. This group is not ready to disappear just yet, and that's exactly where the second part of this story comes in, which has been stirring up the NBA news. While the team rediscovers its identity on the court, sources close to the league indicate that Golden State may have won the biggest market dispute of the moment. This is not just a simple rumor. The talk behind the scenes is that the Warriors outperformed heavy competitors in a true bidding war. There is still no official confirmation, and this requires caution. But the word is that the front office used a combination of strategy, resources, and attractiveness to come out ahead. If this is confirmed, it's not just about adding a name to the cast. It is a declaration of intent. It is to show that the organization is still willing to act, compete, and position itself aggressively in the market. The recent off-season and negotiation period have been especially intense. Several franchises competing for high-level talent, complex financial scenarios, and decisions that impact years ahead. In this context, winning a dispute of this size signals strength. Analysts are already starting to discuss what this could mean in terms of chemistry, fit, and real playoff ambitions. On social media, the reaction from fans is immediate. Theories, analyses, clues, everything being unraveled in real time. Within the organization itself, the climate appears to be one of cautious expectation. Nobody confirms anything, but the feeling is that something relevant is taking shape. if the rumors become reality, the impact could go beyond a simple move. It could reposition Golden State as one of the most interesting teams to watch in the coming months. Until then, all that remains is take in every detail, every information that emerges, and connect the dots with what is already being seen on the court. Because, in the end, the message tonight was clear. When focus, execution, and identity come together, the Warriors are still a problem for any opponent. And if, in addition, the team really won this great dispute off the court, the scenario changes even more. The season remains full of challenges, but for the first time in a while, there are concrete reasons to look forward with more confidence. And that's exactly why this moment cannot be treated as just another victory on the calendar. What we saw on the court was a team regaining confidence, identity, and above all, purpose. When Golden State plays with focus, when the stars lead without needing to force, when the supporting cast responds and the defense sustains, the message is clear to the entire league. The Warriors are still here. Add this to what is happening behind the scenes, with strong rumors of a decisive victory in the market, and the scenario changes completely. It's not about nostalgia, it's about present and ambition. This group does not accept being an extra, does not accept being discarded, and is showing, on and off the court, that it still wants to fight for something big. Now, if you want to stay on top of everything, understand every movement, every confirmed rumor, every game that changes the course of the season, I left the Golden State Warriors News Today playlist in the comment pinned. Click there, because there you will find the complete sequence of news, analyses, and updates that every fan needs to follow to avoid being left behind. Stay with me, follow the playlist, and let's follow the next chapters of this story together, because it is far from over.